We've got Bitcoin dominance dropping, Bitcoin chopping around. The alts are starting to fly. Is it Bitcoin's time this weekend? Are we getting a pump on BTC to some key levels? Now, guys, I'm going to cover you for some upside plays. We can see these alts are exploding nicely, but there's always the possibility of a downside. So I'm going to look after you for this weekend as well on some downside bounce zones on BTC. Let's go. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. Now, no special guest today, other than the regular Mr. Bulerish in the house, and here he is. Let's see. Quick sentiment check here. How are we feeling?
It depends on the tweet. Got to see. Super bullish on a tweet, and then we get the denial, and it's a bit bearish, and then we get the tweet again today, and it's bullish, and then it gets denied again, and it's bearish. So I don't know. There's a tweet floating out that there is a Pakistani mediator is heading to Tehran. So okay. I don't know.
So look, we've seen a roller coaster today. We've also got the new Fed chair getting sworn in today. So there's a lot of catalysts floating around there, but we keep getting a head start with the news on the wall, and then that gets pulled back and they go again. So we're going to take a look, see what's happening. Again, we're going to focus on key levels today. That's all we can really do in these types of environments, and we try and take advantage of what is going on. Now, in terms of NEAR yesterday, guys, we were playing in NEAR yesterday afternoon on the show. Why was it interesting? It was breaking that massive daily bearish VWAP, and look what they gave us at the end of the day. We got 23% out of NEAR. That was an absolute ripper and a nice surprise to wake up this morning with that thing pumping. Virtual completely missed that big rejection at the 200-day MA. We're going to see if we can scrape together another play there. Nagel's baby dot at the bottom, nothing to say about that thing. ONDO, that is alive again, and I am talking about ONDO today. I've got a massive level here. ONDO head looking like a bit of a cup and handle, maybe some big moves coming on this guy, and maybe it's still early days. Okay, so we're going to be covering all of those things. Let's look at BTC first. Let's see what's going on. Tweets are the future of finance. I have to tend to agree with that statement there at the moment. And check OP because DJ and Dave said so. Did Dave tell me to look at OP? I'll need to look at OP there. We'll take a look. Okay, so Bitcoin, this is the 1 hour time frame we're watching. Again, getting chopped around here. We've had a mini headline that's just come out about some Pakistani mediators, but I think you can see exactly the current market sentiment here. Okay, so Bitcoin dropping on the 1 hour. Our oscillator is getting incredibly close to some kind of reversal. Now, remember, it's getting close to a reversal. It doesn't guarantee how big the bounce is, but it does tell us that we are starting to move into an area where we could start leaning into some kind of short-term bounce in the market. So this is obviously a big guide for BTC. Just in terms of what's happened previously, you can see the last time we bottomed out, that was just yesterday. We got a nice push to the upside. Let's look at a couple of other examples there. When we did eventually reverse, we got a nice push. You can see what I'm looking for over here on BTC. So the 1 hour is getting close. The question is, which are the key levels where we can look for that bounce? And it's very simple for me on the 1 hour time frame. Number one is where we are right now. It's a 786 fib with some horries in place here. So 76.5. This looks great to me over here. So it depends on how degen you are, how big your leverage is, but 76.5 looks like a zone to test. If there is further weakness, I think it is inevitable whether this move goes like that or back down again. I think we are going to see this 50-day moving average come into play at some point on Bitcoin. So I would say, guys, 76 into 75, 900. Okay, 76 into 75.9. And then if the wheels come off, and it happens today, I think if it happens in the next 4 to 6 hours, give or take, on BTC, and we drop into the 75, I would say 75 is a strong bounce zone there. It's a strong commitment zone. You're looking for a bounce. You'll have about a 1% stop, give or take, in that area. But these are effectively your three downside levels that make sense to me. These are the money printer zones where I would look for longs, for bounces, if we are moving into those types of areas. Okay, so we're getting super close here. And Ardner says USDT DOM will break out today. Now, I am looking at USDT dominance today. It's a critical chart for us. We've got 2 days left on that weekly time frame. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a couple of minutes there, but it's a big weekend coming, guys. It feels like a make or break, not to be too dramatic, but it does feel like a make or break for crypto. Now, in terms of upside, if we get what we want, okay, which is a push into this upper VWAP into the 0.5 fib, that is 79K 79K. Now, you saw I blurred it on the tile, but 79K, that is a big target here for me for BTC. And I think if we do get enough momentum, that is going to be my weekend target. I wouldn't look much past 79K at the moment, but we can see there is risk on environment. You can see these alts are starting to move. They are starting to get involved in some of these tokens. So if we do get Bitcoin firing off, 79K is my number, then we deal with it. Now, remember, we've got the team trading on Saturday, tomorrow. They're going to do some live trading. So if the market's going up or down, they'll be there to look after you guys. So make sure you tune in and make sure your notifications are on and you are subscribed so that you know when they are going to go live. And then obviously Chart Hackers in the Discord, Sunday banger. We will cover whatever drama unfolds this weekend. We will make sure we either longing it or shorting it come Sunday night. Okay, so we got you guys covered. There's your Bitcoin bounce zones. Those are the areas. Now, if we zoom out a little bit, I just want to show you guys again the context of actually like where we're sitting at the moment. This is the daily time frame on BTC, and if you look at this chart, you can see I've got beautiful horizontals lower down. I've got a beautiful rising trend here. You can see it makes sense that 74K can come into play at some point. So what we've been watching obviously over the last few days is this existing plan over here. And now we haven't exactly had a monster pump, but you can see in terms of what we're looking for, I am looking for a gradual move to the downside, and that is why for now I'm capping things at around about that 79K region that I've been talking about during the course of the week. Okay, so any pumps here, not getting too horny about that situation. 79K pretty much where I want to be, and we'll deal with it after that. James, 79K, is it a dream? Is it a fantasy?
I don't know. We've got a long weekend here. Maybe we get some manipulation and pump up to 79 before they kill us on Tuesday, actually.
Are we closed on Monday?
Yeah, Memorial Day.
Oh, that's not helpful.
In America, anyway. I'm not sure about the other markets, but America's closed for sure.
Okay, America's closed, guys. Monday. Okay, so that's not very helpful. In fact, James, stay here because we're gonna talk about the very little bit of news that's going on, but it's the big market moving news at the moment. Okay, fear and greed. We're sitting at 28. No surprises there. Let's take a look at our lickies here, and what 177 million can't be 177 million. This thing is broken. It feels like
that doesn't make sense. The way things popped off, there should have been tons of shorts liquidated.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, definitely broken. Yeah, it feels like more. I mean, we've watched drama unfold before in this market, trust me, and it feels like a lot more than 177. But let's just take a look how crypto is doing today. I mean, today is a really good example here, and let's just take a quick look at the market situation. Let's just watch that again because we know. True. I did a round trip today. I did a round trip on Algo today. It was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. Any round trips for you that I need to know about?
Yeah, I was in Algo as well.
Any ones in private?
In private? Yeah. No, not in private.
Yeah.
Very
guys. So here is Kevin Walsh. Okay, he's sworn in now. It's official, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be at 11, so he should be in by now.
Okay, and are we selling the news? I wonder. I mean, this is is it big enough news now?
I don't think it's good news.
Are you nervous about this, man?
Yeah. I don't think this is bullish at all. I never did think it was bullish based on his stance and just where the economy is. With inflation screaming like this, he can't cut interest rates and he wants to cut the balance sheet. There's nothing bullish at all, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, well, guys, you saw the news. You saw the tweets. 3 out of 3, when a new Fed chair has come into play, there's been an average drop on Bitcoin of 70%. So is this time different? Okay.
A 70% drop in Bitcoin, that'd be sweet.
29.5, I think is what we're looking at. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Then obviously the other stuff is like we're going back and forth. I'm not going to read you this tweet, but we're going back and forth on the news. It feels like there's a war deal around the corner. Then there wasn't. Then they were off sides. Then the Pakistani mediators were coming. Then they weren't. Now they're back on. I mean, I'm exhausted.
Yet the interesting part is that when this was denied yesterday, we did not go straight to hell. And that was telling to me that maybe there's something to this, that it was leaked a bit early, that it may have some truth behind it because we didn't go straight to hell on the denial, which typically this fake news that we get, we dump on it. But it's happened again this morning. That came out before US Open. We were flying that, okay, the flight's on. The guy is going today. I said, see, it was real. And then it was denied minutes later again.
Boring. Okay, let's just let's just watch the oil price. Okay, so unfortunately, well, it depends which side of the fence you're sitting on, but unfortunately, this oil, unless we can get failing divergence very quickly, this oil is looking very bullish on the oscillator. Okay, we're printing so many divergences here at the moment on this 99 level here for oil. So obviously, we want to watch this closely. If we start losing the 50-day moving average, I would say that's pretty bullish for other markets. Okay, so let's watch oil here today. 99, big line in the sand. If we start losing that, I believe we get an acceleration to the downside and we get maybe an acceleration to the upside. And heaven forbid, they even try and pump ETH if we get something like that. Okay, so, don't be mean about ETH. Now, oil, 50-day MA, guys, 99. If you're bullish on oil, bearish on the rest of the markets, that's going to be a take profit zone for you. If you want a long oil, it's 99, the retest here on 99. Remember, there's multiple oil charts out there. The chart I'm trading here is WTI oil on the Vantage chart. Okay, so that is the one I'm watching. Obviously, we got Brent as well. There's other charts available. The pricing is slightly different, but that is what I'm looking for there. Then in terms of the S&P, well, looks like we got all-time high coming again. Okay,
EJ hit today, all-time high again.
Yeah, we spoke about that yesterday, and we kind of in long the top country here on the Nasdaq as well. Okay, we're getting close to some kind of explosive move here, Jay, and I mean, I don't know.
This tired of winning thing is actually quite true for the stock market, not crypto. But the stock market, they are winning. It just keeps making new all-time highs, regardless of what's going on.
I'm trying to long the top here on the Nasdaq. So I got one reasonable entry at 29560, and I've got one disgusting entry here. But I mean, my stop's about to get hit here at where we at literally at the top, 29,600, 620, give or take. Okay, so that is my current playbook here on Ubit, literally longing the top of the Nasdaq. Let's see if this oil keeps dropping, we might get some more momentum. Okay, so I've got two positions running here. I'm in what am I, $300,000 long here at the moment, about to get stopped on the first batch over there, but I've got that lower one running. So let's watch and see what happens. I think we can start pumpy. And then obviously the Dow, I covered this one yesterday, didn't get the trade, unfortunately, but I was saying, guys, if we break this zone, I'm bullish on this level, I'm bullish on this move. Okay, so we had a big push there on the Dow, and look, I mean, big targets ahead, guys. It's price discovery. Okay, like there's big things happening here, and I mean that's all-time highs. There we go. Okay, so price discovery coming in hot, and basically we're going to grind this thing and look for bounces until we blew in the face, and until
Trump
this thing
has predicted 100K. He says this is going to double.
Okay, well, can we come along for the ride? I'd appreciate
yes,
that.
please.
Okay, so,
can you imagine that if this thing literally doubles, what it'll do to everything else? That would be absolutely insane, but that's his prediction. And I think that's by the end of his term, maybe, that we're going to hit.
Do you think
100K.
That'll move the price of ETH off support?
No, it won't do anything for ETH, but I think crypto will run, just not ETH.
No problem. Okay, guys, so there you go. Dow all-time highs. Look, I don't want to take this on now on a Friday afternoon. I don't have the trade. I'm long in the top of the Nasdaq, got the stops. Let's see what happens here. Oh, there's the first one. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Dow looks primed for higher. The plan I'll give you guys on Monday, we'll deal with it. But in terms of big support, this is now going to be your line in the stand. I don't know when we come back and test this. You can see in terms of the Dow, there are some pretty big moves here on this guy from time to time. So, I'm not saying we're not going to get our entry here. So we're going to look for that, obviously, come Monday. I'd say it's a little bit late now to try and look for a trade here. We got the market closing in a few hours as well. So just be super careful with some of those. And then in terms of gold, look, nice little trade yesterday, little scalpy there on Ubit for us, but nothing, not exactly shooting the lights out. So I'm not trading gold at the moment, but in terms of two zones, again, you can see no real changes here at the moment. This is long zone number one, and you could probably get away with about, let's say about a 0.5% risk, give or take, from current price. And alternatively, lower down, guys, 4,400 to 4,340 is going to be your lower down long zone there for gold. Okay, so if you want to have a scalp here, it's 0.5% risk, and then lower down, obviously the big one there for us. And then in terms of NVDA, like getting quite excited. I think we're going to get a bounce here. I think we're going to get some buys in now. NVIDIA, if you ever wanted to give this one a crack, there's some big support coming, guys. Remember, they have absolutely obliterated their earnings. Okay, they're nailing it every single time. The previous occasion, we actually had a drop after beating earnings, and then it was buy all the way back up. So what I would suggest, get your alarms on, 208, 200, focus on this thing. I think we're going to get some good moves, and we've got a very easy invalidation. You close below that 50-day MA 196, and we can throw in the towel for a little while and see what happens. But I'm not expecting that. Obviously, anything can happen, but right now, that is the big level for me on NVIDIA. Okay, so I have closed my BTCC short there on NVIDIA. It wasn't a big one in the end. They didn't give me the massive size that I was looking for, but we are done there on NVIDIA. Okay, so let's see how we're kind of hanging on at the moment. And Rain is saying dot time. Is there something I need to know about dot?
Well, I didn't know. Is this a joke or is he serious or what? I'm not sure what this means. Probably a joke.
Nagel, can you inform us, please, sir, if you're watching? Let us know if there is dot time, because I know every day is dot day for Nagel. Okay, so guys, I spoke about USDT dominance. I've been talking about this one this week, and like this is quite an important chart for us. And if you actually notice, Bitcoin's been flat, and the USDT dominance weekly candles actually been relatively stable, even though these alts are popping off. And there's been some massive moves in some of these altcoins. It's actually been insane what's happening here. We've even seen some strength out of Solana, finally something happening. But the big candle we're watching here is USDT dominance. You can see there's a fight at the 50-day moving average. Look at this guy over here. And really what we want is we want this under that 50-day moving average. We want this thing nice and red. So come Sunday, in a perfect world, we get a weekend pump here. USDT dominance drops, it goes nice and red. We get a close underneath. It gives us some continuation to the downside. So that is ideally what I'm looking for over here. Obviously, we can't always have what we want. And in terms of mixed signals, you can see we've got a bullish print now on the weekly chart on USDT dominance. That is not a good sign for us at the moment. Obviously, you can see we had the bearish signs here. It started rolling over, but now mixed signals coming through. So we need to wait patiently and see. And hopefully, guys, if we get this drop this weekend, close below, maybe we do get another breath come Monday, Tuesday, maybe some more market action for us. Okay, and then Bitcoin dominance. This is a banger, and this has been dropping beautifully. Look how nice and red this is at the moment, and dropping into our first big danger zone. Okay, so everywhere over here, what does this mean for me? It means altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. And I think you can see that is going on if you take a look at the alts versus Bitcoin at the moment. And where do we get a situation where Bitcoin can start outperforming alts? Well, right now, we are moving into that area. So this isn't necessarily one where the market capitulates and absolutely wrecks us, because there is the bullish option, and the bullish option, Bitcoin bounces and Bitcoin rallies to that 79K level this weekend. And then we're happy to see dominance start bouncing. Totally happy with that. So the problem comes, guys, if, for example, Bitcoin starts losing that 50-day moving average over here, that could start becoming a little bit of an issue for us. And you could see a hard bounce on this Bitcoin dominance. And remember, Bitcoin falling over, dominance pumping, alts getting wrecked. Okay, that is not the recipe for success, James. That is not what we want to see. And maybe they will finally shake me out of my ETH position. Okay, remember, guys, if you're in the Hackers Discord, you've got the Divergence scanner. We built this thing for you. And you just jump in and you can go and take a look at your favorite altcoins and see what's going on. Not a good sign here, James. I mean, I opened this thing, an AERO. I'm getting chopped around in AERO. The first thing I see here is multiple bearish divergence prints on the 1 hour. I almost want to close this thing quite quickly. We got hidden bullish on Lido. We got hidden bullish on ETH. Nice. That is nice. That's a relief. We've got a couple of hidden bullishes here on some of these guys. Then we've got, what do we got? Bullish divergence on PaxG. That was about 3 hours ago. But you guys can see this is a good way to check the sentiment of the market as well. So if we're having a little pullback, you'll see it's written in the stars here for you guys. Okay, let's talk about ETH, the greatest bit of crypto in history, behind XRP and DOT, obviously. Couple of things going on. What I did for the hackers today was I actually looked at ETH versus Sol, because they're both actually lagging. I've been sitting in ETH and Sol and they're doing nothing, but ONDO and everything else is moving. And I looked at those versus Bitcoin, and then I looked at those comparatively with one another. And I thought maybe this is good information for you guys so you can understand a little bit of context. So let's start, at least I was validated on my AERO long. Yeah, and then I might be invalidated on my second AERO long. I'm going to show you guys now. Okay, so first things first, let's talk ETH versus Bitcoin. What is going on? Where's the action? Why aren't we getting moves? Okay, so number one, there's a little bit of a suspicious level going on here for ETH versus Bitcoin. I just want to point out there's a lone 618 fib sitting here all by itself at the moment. It's not supported by other levels. It's not supported by weeklies and things like that. So that's obviously my first concern. We need to see a little bit more weakness of ETH versus Bitcoin. Okay, now obviously one of the options is Bitcoin starts pumping and then this candle turns nice and red, and ETH organically moves up with Bitcoin, but it certainly doesn't outperform. For me, where does ETH actually take the reins? Where does ETH really start getting aggressive? And I would say the best odds are actually going to be in this lower box over here with this weekly level. We've got multiple weekly candles in this region over here. So what does that tell me? It tells me if Bitcoin dumps or pumps, whatever the situation is, when ETH is in the box, that is where we can reasonably expect it to start outperforming Bitcoin. Okay, so that is step number one. Then we can look at, for example, Sol versus Bitcoin. And you can see Sol versus Bitcoin has dropped into the corresponding level, which does include some horizontals here at the moment. So this actually, to me, starts looking a little bit better versus Bitcoin than what you might see on ETH. So, and I think today we've actually seen in the last 24 hours, Solana is actually waking up a little bit more than ETH at the moment. There seems to be a little bit of movement over there. Not a lot. I mean, let's not get excited over here. But in terms of some of the candles, it has outperformed a touch. Okay. Like James, am I getting a little bit? I'm not sounding too excited about Sol, am I? I'm being
no, but it has been looking better than ETH at least.
Okay. So, at least. Okay. So guys, so Sol Bitcoin looks better than ETH Bitcoin. Okay. So we can agree on that. Then I've got Solana versus ETH. Now, this is a super interesting one. You can see over the last 3 weeks, this is the weekly chart that we're looking at. This is Sol outperforming ETH. It's now moving into a resistance band. Now, the fun part or the negative part about this thing is, we break the 200-day MA. I'm expecting like a hard move into Sol over ETH. I think Sol's going to be heavily favored over ETH if we break this 200-day MA. And yes, it is going to be bonk time. It's going to be whiff time, dupe time, popcat, all the dog shit, SPX, all that stuff. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Okay, so, and then, I mean, when do we come back to ETH? It's going to be when we come and retest. Okay, so when we drop down, that move coming back down is going to be when ETH takes over the reins. But now this obviously needs to be in super bullish conditions for us to really enjoy the fruits of these explosions. Okay, so
maybe that's when the mediator news turns out to be true for once, and we actually like see a plane and shaking hands and all this kind of stuff instead of just rumors.
That's enough for a weekend pump. Okay. So, okay, guys, let's look at ETH. Dog shit, absolute dog shit at the moment. I mean, it's absolute pain, guys. I mean, I'm ashamed. Me and Tom Lee must be the most ashamed ETH traders in history at the moment. Okay, so we're sitting here 2,100 down to 2,060. These are the ETH levels. Okay, like you can see the support. It's difficult to exit when you're sitting in a zone like this, because also when you get this type of chop, you get this type of accumulation, like there's becomes a big buildup and it can fire off anyway. So, it's difficult to just randomly cut this position while we're sitting here. So I'm kind of just parked in it for now, watching the show, and let's see how we go. Obviously, upside zones are marked here on the chart, and remember, all these charts, they go into the Hackers Discord for you directly after the show. They'll be there waiting for you guys. You can access them there. Okay, how many percent move up on Sol? Let me show you in a second. Then we've got okay, and here's Sol. So looking slightly better than ETH. You can see a little bit more interest. I'm still parked in quite a big size Sol position. My average entry is just around 85. Okay, so in terms of my average entry, I'm sitting right here at this VWAP zone, at this bull zone, and 618. Okay, look at that. So around about this 85 is my average entry, and the reason I'm holding this position is because I'm viewing this zone as quite a bullish, strong zone, and it's a very nice line in the sand for us, because what does it tell us? It tells us we're above the 50-day. We should expect momentum to the upside. We're above the 100-day MA. We're above the local bull zone VWAP as well, and we're holding the horizontals and the 0.5 at the moment. So there's enough reasons in the tank at the moment to stay in the Sol position, and obviously looking for a little bit higher. What is a little bit higher, guys? 89, that is going to be the big zone for me, number one, and then we deal with it after that. So one of the big things we're going to be watching is this VWAP. You can see this blue line here from the upside. If we break that VWAP, then we get an accelerated move, perhaps like we saw on near yesterday, a nice strong move to that side. But for now, 89, let's see if we can even get to 89 this weekend. That'll be a great start. and then we can start playing games after that. Okay, but right now, if you're looking for a short on Sol, 89. If you're looking for a long, it's anything from 85.6 into 85, and then you're looking at your 89 target to the upside. Mumo, I've got AERO for you. I might be stopped out by now, but I've got it. We're going to deal with it in a second. Okay, I'm going to take you through that full AERO situation. Okay, now, in terms of things like Tawawa, this thing has been, it's been strained. I mean, we covered this yesterday, got the bounce again, and now it's still fighting this resistance. A little bit disappointing. I did want to see more. We saw beautiful explosions on near. We saw ONDO do really nicely. Virtual started waking up, things like that. So I'm really waiting for this towel to give me something, but the principle is very much the same this weekend. And I would say, like, there's a very clear zone here that you guys can look to trade. Okay, so number one, I'm sitting in Tawawa over here. I'm 41K. I'm still in the same position that I was in yesterday, and it's still green. So I've got no reason to cut this thing just yet. I have reasons to add if Bitcoin is going to start grinding higher. I think this tower can obviously follow it. Our top long hype, this thing was up, James, $800, $900 at one point. We are now back to flat on hype. I'm going to take you through that as well, because I am eyeing that move on hype to 83, and then ETH, well, it's basically sending me to zero one step at a time. Okay, so this is my Blofin situation here. Now, in terms of Tao, there's a couple of ways you can play this game. Number one, you can do degen type trades where you're running effectively 1% stops. Okay, you can see over here anything from say 279 down to about 276 looks okay to me. That's a pretty tight stop. And then alternatively, you've got that lower zone, which actually looks the most attractive to me at the moment. The reason being is I want to see that wick onto that VWAP. I'd love to see a sharp wick onto that zone and then some kind of continuation here on this towel. So right now for me, next big zone, 274 into 270 on tau. Okay, now interesting things happening here with the oscillator. We're not getting full reversals. Look at this. They're playing tons of games here. They're giving us bearishness and then reversals and then bearishness and then reversals. So it's difficult to read at the moment. It's very like Pakistani mediator here. In fact, it ties in perfectly to the Pakistani mediators. You couldn't get a better example than this at the moment. I mean, yes. So let's read.
Off, up, down, back, forth.
That is where we are, guys. Okay, so that is where we are. And if you're wondering why I call it the Pakistani mediator, is because the oscillator is equally confused, okay, as to what is going on out there in the market. Okay, so two long zones. I'd say remain bullish on this thing until it loses this local VWAP. So here's your local VWAP over here, bringing up support. When we lose the local VWAP and start closing underneath, yeah, okay, maybe it's over, right? Okay, but for now, I'm locked in on this tau, and then obviously upside targets, I'm watching this VWAP. If we blow the VWAP like we did with NIA yesterday, we start opening up some big upside moves, and that is obviously the carrot that is dangling here for me. That's the exciting carrot, that if we can hold on to these things and we get that momentum above these VWAPs like we saw with NIA yesterday, there's a 9-10% move coming on tau. Okay, so right now I'm positioned for that. If we lose that VWAP, obviously I've got to reassess. So we need to relook at things and see where we are, but that is how I want to play this at the moment. Okay.
What's that percentage there? I don't have my glasses on. I couldn't read it.
It's 10%. 10%. Okay, so but we got to break the VWAP. You can see what's going on. It's 3 taps, I guess. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Let's see if we pop it one more time, guys. Okay, we want to move up. Up, up, down, down. What was that message? Up, up, down, down.
From classic Nintendo cheat codes, you know.
That's the Mortal Kombat. That's how you shoot the fire or whatever it was. Okay, guys, let's talk hype. So yeah, this is super interesting. This was my sentiment yesterday, and this is my playbook yesterday. We can see hype is all-time highs. The simple 1618 FIB pool says 83 is a potential target for us to the upside. Nice little flag at the moment for hype. Do we get so lucky that it forms a flag and it just fires? Well, we'll have to see what happens this weekend. We have noticed that hype does pretty well on the weekends. And I would say if we get some kind of war resolution, you might find hype cooking again over the weekend. Now, what does this mean? If I want to try and attack this level, what does it mean for me? It means, like, number one, I'm obviously trying to trade a flag under major weekly resistance. So that is obviously a dangerous thing to do, but there is a way you can do it with a degree of structure. But if you are trying to catch a move like this, there's obviously the risk that you may get stopped out a couple of times before this big move into 80 3. Now, I explained it in my private Zoom that I did for the hackers earlier this morning. But essentially, we've had the scenario before, and I traded the scenario with you guys last year when hype was grinding up to these highs. We had targeted some of these highs at some point, but you can see they really did try and chop things up before they went to the upside. So I don't think it's going to be super easy, and we might have to try this thing a couple of times. But for now, I am tracking hype on the lower time frame. This is a 45-minute example here at the moment, and you can see I did top long this hype yesterday, and we were absolutely cooking. Well, I suppose I bottom longed it on our bull zone. Okay, and now we've obviously round tripped at the moment. So the bullish news is we've got a local bull zone, we got a 382, we've got a very clean potential bounce zone, 56.7 on hype. Okay, so you can see that here in front of you. There is an argument to say, okay, that's a range and we're going to get a bounce here. Okay, so that is like the perfectly bullish argument. Then obviously, guys, you can see it's staring us in the face at the moment. Okay, there's like a monster size double top here on hype. There's a monster size double top on a couple of other alts. Obviously, I got my eye on this thing, feeling a little bit edgy about the current situation. So what I want to say is just make sure you are protecting yourselves with reasonable stops, and you being super cautious with how you are playing this. But you cannot deny there is an opportunity here for hype. 56.9 into 55.9. There's a nice easy long with an easy cut. Okay, so it depends how DJ and you guys obviously want to play this thing, but you can see this level makes a bit of sense. You can see my alarm is on over there, and if we start closing under that VWAP, guys, I'm naturally going to start trimming that position. Okay, you can see it's a local VWAP over here, and then we see what happens, because you might find if we close under the VWAP, you might find we get the pump, but it's a lower high, they flag you lower down, and then maybe we get that bounce. But we'll deal with that during the course of the week, obviously, as things go. Now, how's this? Okay, and Giovanni says, why? What's pumping it? I think it's the SpaceX IPO. I think it's the stocks. I think it's oil. Hype's also just a great product.
Also, the new ETF. The people are aping into that ETF this week, and so that's another. There's just non-stop catalyst for hype. There's no reason for it to stop.
Yeah, guys. I mean, if you're prepared to go much lower leverage, like hype's a play. Hype's a proper play. There's not many crypto projects out there that you can look at and be like, fuck, this thing's a real business making real money. Like, if the entire world of crypto collapses and goes to zero, okay, guess what will be around? Hyperliquid, because everyone's going to be shorting everything to zero. Like, they'll make more money. Okay, so just think about it. Like, hype's a proper play. It's not a shitcoin. It's like a real deal. Okay, so yeah, ETFs buying tons of hype. Okay, so guys, let's talk ONDO. Also, real deal. Backed by BlackRock. They own gazillions, I guess. And, looking at ONDO, this is the daily chart. Now, remember this range, okay? Remember this. We spoke about this. I said there's going to be a monster move when we eventually blow out of the zone. Obviously, we didn't know when it was going to happen. Now we've exploded out of the zone. But look what's going on here. We got a little bit of a handle situation forming here for ONDO, and we potentially opening up, number one, this 53-54 region. And then, I mean, like, I don't want to, really, guys, I don't want to come across as a moon boy, but like, there's a proper level up here on ONDO, okay? And if BlackRock decide they want to take ONDO to another zone, they're going to take it there, okay? So I'm just saying, like, it's a monster level. And in terms of, like, I wonder if we got fibbage over here. Let's just see what we got here. No, it's not quite. It's not perfect. Okay, it's not perfect, but there's a big zone here at 89 for ONDO, and you can still be bearish. If you bearish on crypto and whatever, which you're more than entitled to be, like I am generally as well, that for me is like a nice lower high, and they can send it back to zero. Okay, so
what percentage is that move? Holy crap!
It's a yeah. Okay, let's take a look. So guys, it's a big move. So what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to say is like, Bitcoin's been a challenge. Obviously, Bitcoin's been flat. These alts are exploding. There is renewed interest in this stuff. Let's try and chase some of these that we can see some big upside here, potentially. So in terms of the zone, let's just take a look here. From current price, it's about a 97% to the upside. Now, it's not going to happen in one line. It might take a hell of a long time. And I can assure you guys, there'll be multiple liquidations along the way. So don't think you're going to pile in here on 20x leverage and arrive in 3 months' time with ONDO at 90. Okay, like it's very unusual if that happens. I can show you. It will probably look something like this. We'll break up, and then we'll come down and kill everyone. Then they'll go up again, but reject the 618 early, kill everyone, and then they'll go up. Okay, so just remember that they're not going to make it easy. Okay, so it's going to be a challenge. Okay, draw the trend line on ONDO. Draw the trend line on ONDO.
Is he looking for like a big macro trend with a trend break there? Is that what he's looking for?
About that. Okay, yeah, he's probably showing me it's been broken and retested or something. Okay, let's just see. Let's see what we got here. Well, there it is. I don't know, maybe he's got a different trend line. But anyway, okay, so guys, you can see, like, yeah, if you're looking at purely horizontals, that's kind of what we're looking at. All right, so some big targets there. How do we get there? Okay, well, this might be the opening batter. Okay, this might be your first option on ONDO. Now, like I said, you're going to kiss a few frogs. If you're trying to trade a big resistance band on, say, the daily or the weekly chart, and you're trying to trade the breakout, sometimes you might get stopped once or twice before that move actually happens. But if I have to identify a reasonable zone that makes sense to me, look at this like little banger over here, 418 into 405. Okay, 418 into 405. NVIDIA going to hell. This is exciting.
Going down to your entry there, maybe.
This is exciting news, guys. Okay, NVIDIA dropping hard is the best news we've heard like all week. I'm telling you. Okay, so 418, guys. 405. Okay, 418, 405 for ONDO. That's a banger. Okay, if you lose that, fine. We deal with it. If we lose this thing, we're going down to the 200-day. Like, that's probably going to become the eventual target. So what we want to see, obviously, chop aroundery, drop here, and then a hard push out of the sky. And I think that you've got yourselves a banger. If that fails, guys, the 200-day MA comes later. I'll update that in the Discord. I'll cover that on the show during the course of next week. Okay, but right now that looks good. I think we can guarantee DJ and Dave will be in ONDO if we go there.
I wonder if he's still in that thing or not, or what, because he caught that initial move.
That was the most disgusting trade I've ever seen. It was disgusting. Like, I had like a nice thousand ONDO and I was very happy. And I said to Dave, geez, bro, aren't you going to close this thing, take some profit? And he had so much conviction that it was going to go again. It was like, he had this like hardened conviction. And fuck,
yep. Nope, I'm holding it. I'm not touching it. He posted in the Discord too. He's like, guys, I believe in this one. I'm holding it. I am not taking profit. I'm being stubborn here. Man, it paid off.
Yeah, credit to him. It paid off. Okay, another day, maybe it didn't. You know what I mean? But like, fuck, what a trade. What a trade. Okay, so guys, there's the ONDO play. I'll make sure this is in the Hackers Discord for you guys. Now, let's talk about NEAR. This is the one that basically paid for my holiday this morning. I woke up, this thing was actually flying, and I was like, you know what, fuck that. I'm done. Like, let's pay for a holiday. Okay, so guys, hopefully you're banking profits along the way when you get these pumps. Like, granted, you are going to do a couple of round trips. This is fucking crypto. You know what I mean? This is crypto. Like, you're going to do round trips. And today I did one on Algo. And yeah, a little bit greedy. I tried to squeeze a little bit more out of it. But I did a round trip on that guy.
Where's the destination? Going to the Caribbean. You're going to where? Japan.
We're going to Greece. Going to Greece.
Greece. Greece is beautiful. Nice.
Shit's going to go down. Shit's going to go down. Okay, so guys, let's talk about NEAR. Okay, now Panda looked at this for us on the private Zoom we did for the Hackers members earlier today. And possible short. Okay, now brewing on this guy. And I didn't quite remember the levels that he covered. But what I've done is I've mapped out some basic levels here at the moment. And the typical playbook, if you want to short something like this, is you obviously get your initial tap into these zones. So you initially get your move into a zone, and then what happens is the early shorters start. And then they come in and they clean out the early shorters, and then they drop it down. Okay, so just remember the type of playbook on a hot pumper. That is the safest way that you could possibly look at it. So you get your initial rejection, then they come back, and then you go again. Okay, so that is the play, the typical play, and you can actually see that. There's a double top on Hyperliquid. Okay, look at that. They came and they did it. They didn't break highs. They just said, fuck, we done. Okay, and NEAR could be one of those plays coming out. So in terms of trying to short it, if you're going now, like possibly a little bit early, I don't want to say don't do it, but like for me, I'm not trying it until there's a second move to the upside. And just by way of an example, let me just show you what's happened here in the past on NEAR. You can see what happens. They get the rejection, then they send it again. Okay, look at that. They get the rejection, they send it again, then you go to hell. You get the rejection, they send it again, then you go to hell. Okay, you can see the pattern here on these things. So it would be very weird if they only just gave you a single rejection here and then sent it down. So what I would say, typically, if you want to play the game, you're looking for that second move and then bang. Okay, that would be your potential short on here. So that is short zone number one. What I would suggest, guys, you've got to give yourself reasonable breathing room, but you obviously don't want to get married to it. So what I would say is, about 5% is a reasonable zone here on NIA. And how do you manage that? Well, you go much smaller size and you go 2 or 3 entries into that zone. You let it come into you let it come into that zone and then roll over. And when it starts falling over, then you can start adding a little bit more to that position. Okay, so as it rolls over, you can then start adding more. So get 2 or 3 entries between 235 into 248. Do you remember Panda's levels? Do you remember what he was looking at? What was he looking at?
2.4. Same with Dave. Dave's got a short there at 2.42, I think. All the same area. Mm-hmm. Okay. So guys, you get the picture. That's kind of how we want to play it. So get your alarms on somewhere in that zone, and that's a good first tester area. Obviously, if NIA goes like crazy this weekend, I think we can see there's going to be a second level that you want to be looking at, and that is going to be around 2.8. that you're going to be looking at for NIA. Okay, so 2.8. But right now, I think we can catch something in that zone. And if you want to be extra safe, you go isolated and you go low leverage, maybe 7x, something like that. And you go two or three entries in that area, let it roll over, and then you can add along the way. Okay, so we'll make sure that is in the Hackers Discord. And then in terms of some WeX situations here, let's see. Am I getting rinsed? Am I stopped? Let's see. I hate this reload of death. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're still alive, James. And okay, so we got PENDLE and we got AERO running here. I did a full round trip on this fucking algo today. I'm quite sad. A little bit annoying. Okay, so but we'll maybe we get another bite at this thing. Okay, so PENDLE and AERO. Let's talk about this. PENDLE, number one. I did cover some of these levels earlier this morning as well on this guy. We are getting our first sort of bounce here on PENDLE. In terms of, look, I'd say the entry is now gone, guys. So I was going to say to you, there's longs here, 186, and I have an order at 180. Let me just show you. I've got an order at 185. Okay, I had an order here at 185, expecting it to come and hit. And then there is another level at 182. Okay, this is quite a big zone. So what I would say, maybe it has bolted now. Okay, so if there is a second round of dippage in the market, that's going to be the trade. And I don't know how big it's going to be. I'd say you can maybe go for a lower high even. Maybe you go like a 6%er. But if there is a second dip in the market, this is your banger. Okay, so maybe a lower high over there on this PENDLE. So it's 182 into 179. 182 into 179 on PENDLE looks pretty decent. And then in terms of rejection zones, well, you can see to the upside, we do have quite a big bearish order block over here between 2 and 204, guys. So if PENDLE does run a little bit, there's a short that you can try in this region over here. And that is between 2 and 204 that you're going to be looking at. So just look for that pump into that order block. Your risk is about 2%, give or take, and then possibly that downside move. Okay, so you got your bearish playbook higher up, and you got a bullish bounce zone slightly lower down there on this PENDLE. Okay, let's talk about things that are about to send me to zero. AERO. I gave this as a trade on the private session we did this morning. I was building a position. My playbook was, what was the planning? Well, let me show you on the lower time frame. The planning was, we're going to get the break. Okay, we're going to let this thing ride up. In a perfect world, we consolidate in that zone, and then we break the 200-day MA, and then we like double the size and you ride off into the sunset. Okay, now, unfortunately, in this situation, they ripped this whole thing back down, and now it's been basically a full round trip. You can see I'm sitting in this guy, and the plan so far hasn't gone according to plan. But I have added a little bit to the position. It's now a bit bigger than it was this morning, and I think the invalidation on AERO is pretty clean, guys. Okay, so it depends how bearish, it depends how degen you are at the moment. I would say stop number one, if you are sitting in a long, okay, for AERO, you can see I'm sitting in the long. Stop number one, close below 45. Okay, that is your degen stop zone. Okay, if it closes below 45,
there's a very strong chance you're going to see something like this, okay? And it's going to drop into that type of area this weekend, and then maybe you're going to get your bounce. And that is between 444 and, at the moment, I would say that VWAP at 435. So again, there's no trade below that 45 for me until we start seeing, you know, where this thing's going to settle. Right now, I'm sitting in the position and I'm cutting under those lows. Okay. In fact, you can see there 4508. Let me show you my stop loss is. Where's my stop loss on this thing? Let me show you here. Are we moving up again, James? What's going on? 4484. Okay, 4484 is my stop loss at the moment on AERO. So it's a little scalpy now. And look, if we can get some momentum, things will be pleasant. Are we moving up again? What's going on here, James? Is it only these guys? Gold's green. Let's see. Bitty. Oh, Bitty's green. Let's see. Nazi, I bet you the Nazi stopped me. Bet you. Bet you. Okay, we got one left. Okay, Nazi's still red. Nazi's still red. Gold, green. Okay. Not clear. Okay, so hang in there. Possible bounce here on Bitcoin. Okay, so guys, there's your scalps on AERO. You got PENDLE. You know, oh, now PENDLE's ripping. I mean, you know what to do there on PENDLE. Okay, one more for you guys. If you want to get liquidated in private, the best thing you can do is trade Zcash. Okay, it will liquidate you whether you short or long. At some point, it will make a plan to take all your money. Okay, and I think we've seen this. We've seen this once or twice on Zcash. Okay?
Pineapple coin. It's fully rebranded now.
So this is my plan that I gave the hackers this morning on Zcash. Look, if I happen to be in front of my Mac when it happens, I'll probably diddle in the middle. But the playbook is 612 bounce, 588 bounce. Okay. In terms of, is this thing going to reverse? I'd say it reverses quite hard, quite soon. Okay. That 1 hour is looking better. Let's take a look at the 2. Oh, okay. We got to give it credit. It is going to rip. Okay. It is going to rip. Okay. It is going to give us a bounce here at some point. Okay. So 612 guys, Zcash, and 588 Zcash. Those are your bounce zones. I am looking for scalps there in those zones. Okay. AERO still alive. PENDLE still alive. I mean, they're playing. They must quit playing games with my heart. This is not right. Let's add a little bit here, just in case. Okay. We just add a little bit here, just in case. Little touch. A little bit there. Okay, so we add a bit there. Okay, Hyperliquid, you know the play. Tau, you know the play. Sol, you know the play. Okay, I ain't buying that shit.
There's a whole lot of I ain't touching that shit in the chat on Zek. Yeah, a lot of people been burnt by that one.
Guys, it's such a dark one. Okay, so just a recap here. Ideally, we're looking for higher. Bitcoin 79 would be the dream level. If there is momentum on the market this weekend, like no FOMO allowed past 79. Okay, let's deal with it when it happens. Team is trading tomorrow. If the market's falling over, team is trading tomorrow. Okay, so tune in here. Come and see the guys. They'll give you setups, whether we're falling over or whatever. And then Sunday night in the Chart Hackers private Zoom that me and DJ and Dave do, we're going to cover you guys with whatever's happened. So if we've collapsed all weekend, we'll look for positions. If we've pumped, we're going to look for shorts, whatever the story is. Okay, good luck, guys. Be safe this weekend. Careful with leverage. Careful with size. Anything you'd like to say?
Good luck, everyone. Let's hope we get some surprise news here. There's really a mediator showing up. We get a picture of actual handshaking. Get a nice meme weekend because Sol goes nuts. Jeez, please give us a nice meme weekend.
Give us a tweet. Okay. See you guys later.